we go. We're back. How lovely. I am Stamford Chidge. This, of course, is the Chelsea Football Fancast, and we're about to really chew the bones out of the Everton-Chelsea match, which, I mean, you know, it was like a heavyweight boxing match, wasn't it? Like two great big heavyweights, like slugging it out. It was just mad. But I do like my analogy in the build-up, saying it was a bit like a fit bird on a nightclub, always saying tantalisingly out of reach, you know. Or maybe I mean, Seb probably always gets the fit bird on the nightclub, so I don't know. But you know what I mean? It was just bonkers. And it had absolutely everything, I think, Dan, didn't it, that game?
Yeah, everything and more, really.
And more.
And my primary concern, to be honest, on about 70 minutes, when I'd normally start sending my match report, is what on earth I'm going to write with the rest of it, because there's just been 5 more goals.
Yeah.
It was, you know, everything was lying in tatters, and it was just bizarre. Short of maybe a red card, which I'm quite pleased we didn't get, there wasn't much more they could have had in it.
A red card was potentially on the cards, actually, wasn't it?
I mean, 2 occasions for Howard.
I mean, you know, excuse me for saying, but our older representative on the show tonight. But do you? I mean, can you recall?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I said it in the build-up, there was something very old school about that, Jonathan. I mean, the 50s and the 60s.
Manchester United,
quite
Chelsea,
often
5-2 at the Bridge.
Yeah, which year was? Which decade was that in?
God, no, 65.
Yeah, I mean, that's annoyingly, actually, I should look on the phone in a minute, but Chelsea Stats came out with a really good one, and it is true that in the 50s and the 60s you used to get 7-2s, 6-3s, 5-4s.
It wasn't the fitness, and there wasn't the same tactics, and the
was
game was slower.
Like I mean, more recently, I remember, I mean, there was that United in the Cup when Vialli scored a few goals. We were 5-0 down, weren't we, at half-time?
5-3, wasn't it?
Yeah, ended up 5-3.
Yeah.
But of course, more recently, there was the 5-4 against United in the Carling Cup. That was a mental game, wasn't it?
But I don't think any of them were quite as crazy
Intense.
as that.
Also,
that 10-minute period.
As immediate. Them scoring in the next attack.
It was like playing FIFA.
It was like playing FIFA. Is that what playing FIFA's like, Seb?
Sort of.
I wouldn't know, but, you know, I'm too old for that.
No, too cool, Chidge.
Too cool. Oh, thank you, Seb. Seb's now my favourite pundit on the Chelsea.
I think you're cool as well, Chidge.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
But he said it first.
Yeah, that's true.
Benches. People out in benches land. I mean, you know, what did you think? I mean, it was really quite old school, and it was mad, absolutely mad. Is it one of the maddest games you've ever seen?
It was pretty crazy. I mean, it was end to end. I was watching at home, and up the sofa, down, up, and just brilliant. It's what football's all about, and we got the right result.
We did. What about our new boys, Daniel and Aaron? It's quite hard to say, actually, Daniel and Aaron.
Call them Darren.
What we call them Darren for sure. I like that. Yeah, that's maybe where I was going with that, Dan. What do you think, boys?
I thought it was great. I mean, I think our defence seems a little bit maybe sketchy, if that might be harsh. But I thought end-to-end game. Like, what more could you ask for? Getting the result as well, like perfect.
Yeah, brilliant. Aaron?
Yeah, it was really fun watching the game. Defense might have been a little sketchy, like Daniel said, but yeah, again, great result. So I'm happy.
Little bit of negativity creeping in from the new boys, the foreigners on the benches, but we'll get to that later. First of all, I want to say I thought, you know, clearly very, very impressive up front, scoring at will, and that for me, and again, Jose mentioned this in the post-match presser, but you know that is the key difference this season. I suspect that we might have lost that game last season.
Yeah,
you know,
I really think so.
I think one thing that needs to be said, Everton played really well, I think. They are a good side.
And also they've got the crowd behind them. It's like a bear pit there.
Well, so it sounds like a hen night. Isn't it? Whenever you play any Scousers...
The Goodison shriek.
Sorry, Sam, in the gallery for that. I know that's going to kill you,
The Goodison shriek, as they call it. Even a throw-in, they shriek.
It's like somebody's kind of thrown a load of diddy men at an electric fence, isn't it?
Not the ash.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I'll let you reflect on that, Dan. It's quite an image, isn't it? But no, I mean, we were hugely impressive up front, and I mean, I think, you know, Costa and Fabregas have been the key to this. And I mentioned it earlier, but I loved Fabregas playing in. I loved Fabregas playing in the number 10 role. Here's the thing, though. You know, should he feature as a number 10, or you know, should Oscar be worried or what? I mean, is he better in the number 10, or is he better as next to Matic?
I think he's been bought as a player who can play in a number of different positions, and it's not just number 8 and number 10. I think, you know, if it comes down to it, he can maybe even get on the wing,
maybe a goal. You know?
Who knows? Yeah.
Wasn't that a criticism though of after he'd scored the 2 goals? Is the fact that Matic and Fabregas were a little bit too near the defence, thus allowing them to to pile on the pressure. And I thought we took the foot off the gas after we were 2 up as well for that period. It's when they started coming further forward.
You know
in the
what?
second half.
Because I'm getting a bit senile, and now because we do this blooming show, I have to write notes in my iPhone, which makes me an iPhone. But I did note that at half time. I thought, they're sitting back too much after 2-0 up, and they were inviting Everton on. And Everton, I thought, really took the ball by the horns after about 20 minutes. They finally settled into the game.
Further gear, didn't
and they looked really good and very, very threatening. And that goal was absolutely on the cards, wasn't it, Seb?
And they were unlucky that was it Distani was offside as well, because if that had gone in as well, then
the crowd just wouldn't let the linesman forget it for the next 15 minutes, as if he'd somehow made a mistake for a blatantly offside goal.
That was the first time I really noticed. In fact, I noted that in my notes. And Scouse shrieking permeates the air, I wrote in my notes.
But I think you're absolutely right about if this was last year and Torres had been playing, because we had a large number of chances last year, and it was 1-0.
We had about 20 chances, didn't we?
And he didn't put them away, whereas Costa is just magnificent. I'd like to point out as well that he scored the first with the right foot and the second with the left foot, and they both looked, his equal strength feet.
I wish I'd have known that, because I'd have deducted a point for not getting a hat-trick and having one with his head, because that would have been problem.
The Hasselbank medal.
Oh, I still remember that game like it was yesterday.
Even better being against Spurs.
And even better being against Spurs. One thing I want to say about Cesc Fabregas is that
Whoa. Cesc?
Chess.
Excuse me?
It's a little game.
Chess.
Chess.
A game of chess.
He's called Cesc, isn't he?
Is he Chess?
I thought it was chess because he's Francesco.
Okay, I should just call him.
Have you gone a bit gooner?
No,
Oh.
shush.
Oh.
That was a cappuccino out there, not a latte.
Okay. Right, okay.
Anyway,
Is that what the Gooners call him then? Was chess?
they used to go about chess school stuff. We banned this last week, Jonathan.
I know we did, but
Cesspool.
Can we just call him Fabregas?
I will, and now from forever onwards, I will call him Fabregas.
I'm going to call him F.
Anyway, Fabregas. It just occurred to me watching the game. He looks Chelsea now. He doesn't look Arsenal or Barcelona. He looks tougher. He doesn't look as effect as he looked when he played for Arsenal and Barcelona. Who would agree with that analysis?
Do you think he's had a big night out down the North End Road yet? Is that what it is?
His hair's a bit longer. His hair's a bit longer.
No, his hair's cropped short now.
Well, it's grown a little bit.
He hasn't got a hairband or an Alice band anymore.
Oh, no.
Did he do that before?
Yeah.
If you threw a piece of celery at him, he wouldn't complain and now fall on the ground as he did in the League Cup final.
Well, I'm almost rendered speechless by that.
Do you remember that
analysis,
happening?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was scared of celery, wasn't he? 'Cause he
Yeah,
used to throw
clearly.
it.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think the reason he's playing really well, he put on Instagram yesterday that he'd had a hernia problem for 8 months.
Did he?
Yeah, and that
What, at Barca?
at Barca, yeah, and that he was thanking the physiotherapist at Chelsea for all the hard work to healing it, basically. So that's obviously a great thing that he's not got any pain anymore. So
But he looks tougher.
yeah, but he's
he
going
looks
to have to
He
be
looks a
in
bit
England.
squatter, doesn't he? Looks a bit.
But he's chunked up,
Yeah,
he's
he has.
unshaven, he's got a cropped haircut,
Yeah.
he looks more Chelsea now, it doesn't look effect. I love that word, I'm going to say it again, once more for effect. Effect. There you go.
I was under the impression it was effete.
Oh, shut up. There you go, bang goes the studio. Anyway, moving along. Right, a question for the defence, I've entitled this little segment. And I think this actually, funnily enough, it does relate to Fabregas in a way. But I mean, as we were saying, it was a great tempo, and I thought the ball transition at the start. I mean, that first goal. I mean, we didn't even let Everton touch it, but we did sit back on the counter. And I just wonder. I mean, was it sloppiness, laziness? Was it a bit shambolic? Were they leaving Everton far too much space, or was it, as Jose said, just down to individual mistakes?
I think they're learning as they go along at the moment, both individually and as a team. There's a lot of new people in there. They haven't been together that long, and yeah, there were silly mistakes in there. But at the same time, you can see it almost throughout the game with the maturity that's increasing. They're playing a completely new system. This wasn't on the cards last season, so it's going to happen.
I mean, one thing I would say, Dan, I mean, there were a lot of people, of course, on Twitter, as you will know, who were coating off Courtois. Oh, you should have done better for all those goals. I don't think so. I thought Courtois was, the first goal was a superb header. The second goal, a really decent shot. You couldn't do much about that. In fact, somebody should have tackled McGeady before he got near the penalty area. So I'd say probably Matic.
But they all three of them went for Lukaku, didn't they?
Well, Lukaku made a good run.
Very good run, and then left the right-hand side.
But that wasn't Courtois' fault. And Eto's goal, I mean, you could say,
goalkeeper completely unsighted.
But brilliant goal.
Yeah.
Brilliant goal. And we knew it was going to happen. Did you give him those smelling salts again?
It must have been on that, yeah. One of the things I was most pleased about with Ety when he scored that goal was there was none of this silly sitting on your hands, not celebrating. The boy loves scoring goals, off he goes. I would expect nothing less.
Nor
from
would
him.
I. Nor would I. You know, I
fair
won't
enough,
repeat
it's
what I
fine.
said. I basically did a version of the Samuel Eto'o "Hello, Hello" song. And if you want to enter into a competition, you can write on a postcard and tell me what I changed "Hello, Hello" to. But it's not hard to work that one out. I was cross, obviously. So
That he scored?
yes, of course
Yeah,
I was
well,
cross.
because
It was better than Lukaku scoring, I think.
Well, I mean, you know, we'll get on to Lukaku's naughtiness later on, but no, I mean, you know, that was a superb goal. And the bottom line is, I don't think you can fault your friend Courtois out for any of those.
But he that save he made against, was it Morales that hit the post?
Oh.
If that goes in, they win the game for me.
Yeah.
They were.
Their dander was up, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And they
were.
were
the
in touching
crowd
distance.
was
But they
reaching
didn't-
a kind of shrieky decibel
Yeah.
they hadn't even reached before.
But they didn't even show on Match of the Day, which
No.
I found outstanding. Like,
Well,
To be fair, there was quite a lot
Yeah,
to show on
sure,
Match of the Day.
true.
I mean, you know,
but it was a game-changing moment as a
it
Chelsea
was.
fan.
The
I think it
The
was.
highlights package of that 90 minutes could have been 95 minutes long, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous.
And Gary Lineker's beard.
See, I was quite a fan of the Gary Lineker goatee, obviously.
goatee.
Yeah, it's good.
you know.
It suits him, doesn't it?
But he did got right. I really
He
enjoyed
needs a
watching
big
that.
earring now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Looks like his
really.
brother.
Yeah. No,
I really enjoyed watching Match of the Day this week. I actually waited and waited, and I was really looking forward. It's not often you can say that. I was really looking forward to it. Benches. What are your thoughts on the game overall? You know, we said it was mental, but I mean, you know, were the defence a bit sloppy? Was Courtois at fault for any of the goals?
I don't think, 'cause I think there were, as you say, two very good goals and just a fantastic header, so we could nothing about it. Last year we would have lost. We had character. We kept coming back, and we got 3 big points. And as everyone said, no one's going to get 6 goals at Goodison Park again in a hurry.
I mean, we apart from Dan, all failed miserably to be there at Goodison. Were you? Any of you lot were up there?
No.
Epic fail.
Oh,
How many of you? How many of you really wish you had been there?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's one of those
I think
games where
we
we
all
all wish should have been there.
Yeah, we've all failed miserably apart from Dan.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, Dan had
That's
to
his
be
job.
there. To be fair, isn't he? Yeah,
turn
it's
up for
Dan's
work.
job. One thing I'm
Very
going to.
few loos they've got there. It's one of the reasons I don't like going, because I've reached that stage of my life where you have to be very worrying about whether you go to the loo or not.
I've noticed.
Ages and ages. Exactly. I just had a problem before we came in here.
So what? We've for those of you who are worried about what might happen, we have got Jonathan connected up to
It's a catheter.
Yeah,
Chidge's catheter.
exactly.
Fitted it personally.
Yeah, I did. You know, these hands were made for fitting catheters. Anyway, one of the things that I want to talk about, which is maybe a bit off topic or left field, but I thought that the officials were absolutely
Appalling.
shocking.
Appalling.
I know why, though. I know why. Apparently, the referee was called John Moss, who, of course, you know, everybody of a certain age will know, was actually the drummer for Culture Club, who actually, you could argue, would have done a much better job refereeing that match, I think. Do you really want to hurt me? Yes, actually, I do, John Moss. I really wanted to hurt you for most of the entire match. Unbelievable. I mean, it was awful.
Was that terrible moment when Coleman conned him by nudging Costa, and he gave Costa the yellow card. You just wanted to go, hang on, this is really obvious what happened.
But I think the first one, obviously, boys, is Taliban Tim. I mean, encroaching out. I mean, he was almost at the end of the D.
But the linesman hadn't kept up. Sorry, the assistant referee hadn't kept up with it. So he saw the same shot that the cameras showed us, which was him at the edge of the area. He didn't. If he'd been fitter and quicker, he'd have been level with it.
It was
But
an
he hadn't
appalling
caught
decision.
up. It was.
I mean, appalling because he should have been sent off for that, Dan.
Well, I've seen these happen
Hands
before.
outside the area, mate.
I've seen this happen before. Was it a direct goal-scoring chance?
He handled outside
He
the
handled
area.
outside the area, but did he do it on purpose? First question. And was it direct goal-scoring chance? I think it's a yellow card. He probably should have got.
Hazard was on him.
It's an obvious
No,
goal
it
scoring
has to
chance.
be.
I'd give him a yellow, certainly, but he got nothing, of course, did he?
He got nothing.
Should have been sent off twice.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get on to that. But I mean, that was number one. But my favourite was Taliban Tim. You know, just because Costa told Coleman his fortune, quite rightly, actually, quite rightly. And the other thing is that you've got Seamus Coleman, who's Irish,
And Scouse.
and Diego Costa, who of course is well, we'll call him Spanish for sake of argument. No, I mean, so how could Coleman possibly understand what was said to him?
I've got some information on this because I asked John Terry the other week whether he was helping Diego Costa learn any English. And he said, with a little chuckle, yes. I said, can you tell us any of the words you taught him? And with a little chuckle, he said, no.
Okay, so Diego Costa's entire vocabulary is English vocabulary is now from John Terry.
A little bit of barking vernacular.
Yes. Okay, well, he was certainly quoting a bit of vernacular to Coleman, but I think that's great. I mean, I'm all for that. And then Taliban Tim rushes out and tries to strangle Costa, who doesn't take one step back. So he hands on. He should have been sent off for that. Yeah. And then little Aspie, he butts him like a stag. You can't do that. And he doesn't even get. He got a yellow, didn't he?
Hasn't he allegedly got Tourette's though, Howard?
He has. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. We love Tim Howard because he says you.
So
United used to
you
sing
think
that,
there's an element of sympathy with the referees?
Well, there shouldn't be.
Of course there shouldn't be, but you think there might be?
If I was a referee, every time he had a Tourette's attack, I'd book him off for foul abusive language.
You're off, and you're off again, and you're off again, and you're off again.
But I mean, I'm sorry, it's just that's appalling refereeing.
Well,
3 times he could have had a red card.
Do you think even Seamus Coleman should have been sent off?
For what?
Well, for just his stuff with Costa.
Yeah.
And then he stood on Fabregas's hand.
Yeah.
No one mentions that.
No, nobody
so
mentions
that's a red card.
No, that was. I mean, I was going to say, why did Costa get booked? Because I didn't see him do anything that really warranted a yellow card.
There were handbags between him and Coleman.
Fair enough.
If anything, it's 1 yellow each, isn't it?
I mean, I don't actually have. I mean, to be really honest, I don't have a problem with Coleman and any player getting in and trying to wind up Costa. We know that his temperament might be a bit dodgy. It hasn't really been fully tested, but if I was the opposition, I'd be saying get into Costa, wind him up, see what happens. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the referee booking him for doing nothing.
Do you think John Moss was swayed a little bit by the home crowd? Do you think he thought he was in the Church of the Poisoned Mind?
Oh,
good.
Very good.
I
think that John Moss, the referee, was so changeable he could have been a karma chameleon.
We can go through the whole back catalogue if you like.
But we won't.
We need a bit of time to work it out.
Time.
I'm not old to know any of this.
Oh, sorry. If you've all switched off, I can fully understand why.
Right.
Not very quickly.
Don't be stupid.
Very quickly. I just want to really have a chat about, what kind of marker this lays down. Because for me, I mean, I think Everton are a decent side. I really do, and I think they play well. And we just mullered them 6-3. So
Coleman is a terrific player, even though we've just made him out to be a...
They are.
Coleman is in himself is
the
a
best
terrific
right back. I think he's the best right back.
Fantastic, absolutely.
So come on, Dan, what kind of a marker do you think it lays down?
They look good. It's very early in the season. Don't get too carried away, I'd say. We've played 3 games, and 2 of them have been against sides that really should go back down again. One of them has been just a complete freak of a match.
Although Leicester did well against Arsenal.
Yeah, well, it's against Arsenal, isn't it?
Burnley did well against Man United.
I repeat my point.
We could go on. Who are they playing next? Anybody know? No, not a clue. Liverpool, let's hope.
They look good. There are things to take credit from there, things to be very pleased about, but need to keep on building.
I still think they're a work in progress, Seb. And I mean, in spite of the fact that we've already said we don't think that Courtois was necessarily at fault for those goals, and they were very good goals. We did let 3 in. On another day we wouldn't have scored 6.
No, we were talking about earlier. When was the last time we conceded 3 goals in a game in the league? And it was Sunderland last year. Yeah. So we've got a very good defence. We just got to make sure all these errors are.
What I love the positive aspect of the fact that when they scored, we just went and scored again, which is what we weren't doing at all last year.
Score.
Yeah.
When we get one, we'll get more. We'll sing you assembly when we get to Wembley. So come on, you Chelsea, and score. Enough. Right, we should go to a break, people, because we'll probably carry on singing and then we'll lose the one remaining viewer that we actually probably have. But never mind. After the break, we are going to be talking fannies. Oh, yes.